Hello, my name is Millie. I am autistic and ADHD. Sometimes I need to use AAC to communicate.
Hey, so that was one of my AAC apps. So I just wanted to demonstrate that. That's what I use when I'm really when I'm not able to speak. That's just a simple text to speech app. I mainly wanted to make this video because I don't know how many people have the experience of seeing somebody who has intermittent ability to speak. So I think about it as in terms of an analogy of something else. It's like a ambulatory wheelchair user. So if you don't know what that is, that's a person who um, I hope I'm explaining this right, but my understanding is that it's somebody who uses a wheelchair like some of the time or most of the time, and then is able to walk some of the time, just depending on how their condition is affecting them that day and how much energy they have and that kind of thing. So for me, it's like that with speaking. So it's been like that my whole life. And sometimes it's to the point of selective mutism, which just basically means that in that moment I can't speak at all. Or then in a lot of other times, because of overload and shutdown, it just manifests itself as having a lot of difficulty speaking. And so I end up doing things like I'll mumble or won't be able to project my voice or I'll slur. It's interesting. It's like it's almost like alcohol type effects, and I can overload myself just by speaking too much sometimes. And then, yeah, I don't even drink anymore. And it does seem like this too much alcohol effect. Like I can't control my mouth properly and I'm slurring, or like, it's like there's something in my mouth and it's hard to talk around it and takes a huge amount of effort. And yeah, so I've had that my whole life, but I'm just recently learning how to use AAC. And if you don't know that term, I believe it's augmentative and alternative communication. So that can be a lot of different things like cards or a board with pictures on it that somebody would point to. And yeah, an app like this where like a simple text to speech app. And yeah, I've communication cards as well. It also reminds me of, this is a big thing, like YouTube lends itself very well to like I have the privilege of being able to speak most of the time and and speak like this out loud, and being able to do a YouTube video. I can do it in a controlled way when I have the energy to be able to, and when I'm feeling good and that kind of thing. And yeah, there's a lot of people who don't have that privilege. A lot of autistic people or people with all kinds of conditions that affect their ability to speak. So yeah, I urge you to seek out those people as well. I've read some amazing books and poetry by people who are non-speaking, and so they're not non-verbal. This is again my understanding of the language. This is fairly new to me, but it makes sense. Like, people like to say non-verbal, but they are verbal. They're writing and doing all this stuff, but maybe they have to point to one letter at a time and have somebody speak out the sentences for them, that kind of thing. So it might take more time, but people have written entire books that way, that kind of thing. So they're not non-verbal, just non-speaking. So that's just an important thing to keep in mind. But so I can speak most of the time, and that just makes it incredibly frustrating when I can't, and people just expect me to be able to speak all the time because that's when they see me. Oftentimes, if you don't see me or you don't hear from me, it's because I'm in one of those times where I can't speak. you know? Like it shouldn't have to be, but because I grew up this way, like without coping strategies, it feels embarrassing, like it shouldn't have to, but it makes me shy away and then adds to my social anxiety. And then the selective mutism has caused me huge problems especially in school, for projects, presentations, that kind of thing. Also in work, that's come up. So yeah, the selective mutism really just feels to me, I think it can be different experiences, but for me it's like the words are in there, but I just can't get them out of my mouth at all. And it's not a lack of trying or anything. It's like I'm just like screaming in my head to like try and force myself, and I just can't do it. And then I think the harder I force myself, it just adds to anxiety and it creates this feedback loop and it makes it worse. So it's nice to be able to have things like text to speech that I can rely on. So I've been working with my occupational therapist and my counselor on using various forms of AAC, and it's only been a short time, and I've been practicing a lot, but I want to update this video in the future, but I was just so excited because it's already made so much of a difference in so many situations, like more than I possibly could have imagined, honestly. So some of the benefits are, I said, the ability to communicate. So the issue is when I was having the hardest time and in the most vulnerable state, like in a shutdown especially, or in a meltdown, then that's when I was having the most difficulty speaking, to the point of not being able to say anything at all. And, I'd just be like, why isn't anybody noticing how much distress I'm in, right? And I'm just kind of, it's like I'm stuck inside myself, and I just wish somebody could help me, but I can't. Like I just can't say it, right? So just being able to communicate when I really need help is huge. And it's really helped with social anxiety as well, because people might look at, like, I am very social, like I like meeting people. I'm that kind of person. I need to recharge alone. But I like meeting people and I like talking to people. But I just overwhelm myself, if I end up getting too excited and I end up monologuing and I talk over people and that kind of thing. And then because of autism, I also ruminate and perseverate a lot. So I think that's quite a common experience as well. So that just feeds an anxiety after the fact of a social interaction with a group. Like, did I speak too much? And did I, go on about this one thing and people are bored? And, I should be able to do that and it shouldn't be that big a deal. But, I just don't really want to do that. I want to give everybody space and be able to listen to what everybody else has to say. And so just using something like the text to speech in a group has been great because it just slows me down. I have to think more carefully about what I'm saying. I don't overshare as much, which keeps me more safe and protects other people from stuff they don't need to hear and don't want to hear, maybe. Like just when I'm speaking like this, I just really things just come out of my mouth before I've even really processed them in my head, which is the problem. So, and I often say, like, I have difficulty processing in what other people are saying. So this just kind of slows the whole conversation down and gives me more time to process. So that's been good. And because of having short-term memory issues, a conversation's difficult. That's why I often interrupt people and then I feel bad. But it's because, somebody's saying a long paragraph or whatever, or a long sentence even, and I'm trying to remember something and it's just so hard to keep in my head. So I'm just like repeating it over and over and over and over in my head. and I'm not listening to what they're saying. Or like I'm trying to, but this juggling is like it's exhausting, and I just and yeah, and this is a thing. Like just from talking to people too much, if it gets too intense, will pretty quickly put me into a shutdown after an hour, which is a real problem if you have multiple, if I have multiple meetings in a day. I try to avoid that for that reason. But yeah, yeah, so that seems great for everybody, right? Like I understand more. I can listen more to what people are saying because I can just write down the next thing I'm going to say in the app and then just wait to press the button to speak. And and yeah, it's been really good in public with people that don't know me because I don't know, it's just I shouldn't have to do this either, but it just lowers their expectations. They don't know me. And then they just have more patience, a lot more patience with me, I've noticed. I wish we could just all have patience for each other all the time, but I know I'm not always best at that either. But yeah, anyways, that helps. And so I just want to show you what some of these things look like. Like some of the things I'm always carrying around now to help with communication are to start with this. This isn't a program in Canada yet, but I want to make cards like this in Canada one day. This is like an organization in Ireland. It's the Jam card. It's really simple. It's just says just a minute on the front. And on the back it says, please be patient, I am autistic. So that's just to get that over the initial barrier of knowledge to people when you can't speak, and to give me a sec to get my phone out and the AAC app turned on and all that stuff, so they're not just wondering what I'm doing if I'm just like on my phone in front of them not saying anything, right? So that's been helpful. And then I have these cards, these communication cards that are tailored to me. Like I worked on them with my OT and things I've talked about with my counselor as well. And so I have stuff in there about communication or being in shutdown. So what does the communication one say? Yeah, so I have this one card. So on one side, it's kind of the issue. And then the next other side's the idea is it's like, this is what's going to happen next, or what the other person can do, that kind of thing. So this says I'm having difficulty speaking. And then on the other side, it says, I need to use my AAC app to speak. Please be patient while I get it set up. And then I'm using my phone to film. It's part of the problem of using your phone to film, but yeah, and then I'd open this app, and then I just have to type and press play, and it'll speak it out in whatever voice I choose. So yeah. I also just wanted to make this if I run into anybody, and I think people are not confrontational enough to actually like bring this up, but I know people would be curious and will probably be wondering, like, if they don't know me very well and I see them one day and I'm speaking like this, and the other day I'm using the app. So they might wonder why that is, this variable ability to speak. So I can show them this video. And I want to make this for education, but of course, people with disabilities or health issues, like we don't owe you an explanation or have to teach you about these things, but I just want to, and it's nice to be able to do it like this, when I can do it when I have energy, and you can watch it when you have energy, and I don't have to do it in the middle of the spot where I am most likely having a bad day because I've lost my ability to speak. So yeah, I hope this helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks for learning about my experience of autism and ADHD. And yeah, if you could check out the rest of the videos on my channel, and I will be making more videos on like just neurodiversity related topics in the future. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thanks. Bye.